On today's Johnny Massacre show, Twitter has made a major announcement and they have gone full SJW. Also, I'm going to watch the Creed 2 trailer and give you my virgin reaction. You can now use keyboards on your Xbox One games console. And finally, raccoons wreak havoc in Japan like a zombie horde. I go by the name of Johnny Massacre, and you're witnessing the Johnny Massacre show. So it's time to get political. I don't want to get political, but when I see stupid shit like this, I just have to call it out. So Twitter made a big announcement and they came out and said that language that makes someone less than human can have repercussions off the service, including normalizing serious violence. Language that makes someone less than human. What a weird thing to say. When in your life have you ever felt less than human? When someone cussed you? That's such a weird thing to say. My SJW sense is tingling. I think what they mean is, if you diss trans people, basically, it's dehumanizing. And that's bad, and so you're going to be banned. And yeah, you shouldn't be really dissing anyone, but unfortunately, hate speech is a necessary byproduct of free speech. You cannot have free speech without occasionally hearing stuff you don't like. And this statement annoys me because no one gives a fuck. We just want Twitter to do their jobs and stop trying to paint themselves as the good guy and stop trying to come across as some kind of god who is going to cure the world and get rid of all the hate and all the negativity. It's always going to be there. As my man Jordan B. Peterson says, Kermit the Frog says, there is order and there is chaos. And Twitter just need to shut the fuck up and let people say what the fuck they want and just flag some key words, the racist words, the violent words, and then look at it and ban it if it's really inciting violence. But this statement talks about stopping violence, but really I don't think they're actually going to use it to stop violence. They're just going to use it to shut down anyone they disagree with, especially conservative thinkers. So that really annoyed me, that statement. What is really bad about this is the way that people on the left, i.e. Twitter, who are a torchbearer of the left, they cry wolf about homophobia, about sexism, even about rape, and so on. And so the average person now, when they see serious words like sexism, racism, and even rape culture, for example, they take it with a pinch of salt. That is the fucked up thing. And Twitter is making things worse with this statement about stopping violence. I've already proved my point. When I saw this statement, I kind of rolled my eyes and questioned it. And I shouldn't be doing that when it comes to violence. Violence is violence, man. It's serious. But liberals are trying to bend the meaning of these words just to suit their own agenda. You know, that's what conflating serious terminology with trivial stuff does. It's all liberal, politically correct thinking and ideology central to attracting zealots to their cause. So now plenty of SJWs are going to read this statement and go, yeah, I get behind that. Stop the violence. He called me a dick. That's violence. Time to ban him, dox him, and ruin his life. So moving on, does this mean that anyone linked with Antifa is going to be banned? Because talking about real world violence, as far as I can see, there's hardly any right-wing violence in the States right now. And whenever I see violence, it's some left-wing Antifa guy in a mask just beating up a Trump supporter. Because again, they're conflating words. They conflate Trump supporters with Nazis just so they can get their end away and cause some trouble. You see where this gets you, this way of thinking. Twitter, I am looking at you. So, yeah, as for Antifa, I just went onto Twitter quickly to see if I could find any interesting Antifa stuff. And unfortunately, very quickly, I stumbled upon this tweet. So it says, a comrade had a fair criticism about discussing militia insurgency tactics online. My point, if it is so dangerous to simply discuss legal, widely available information about military tactics online as a leftist, we are already fucked and need to think about them even more. Look how weird people on the left are. Would you really want to have a beer with this guy? He's just saying that he wants to discuss military tactics. There's nothing wrong with that online. It's very innocuous. He's not actually going to use them to hurt any Republicans, is he? Considering he's not showing his face online, that's a surefire sign that you're an honest guy. You cover up your face with a bright yellow and red bandana, sunglasses, and a fucking Mountie hat. So this tweet has not been removed. So this could have nothing to do with violence in the real world, could it? There's plenty of tweets like this online that you can find easily. So either Twitter hasn't implemented this new policy yet, or they're already doing exactly what I said, which is giving a free pass to anyone on the left who's really actually trying to incite violence and shutting down people on the right by conflating free speech and things that they don't like hearing, which are often actually true, with violence. It is very stupid. Twitter, what the hell are you doing, really? And what about those people who say, resist, resist? You know, I looked in the dictionary what resist means, and it's got several meanings, one of which is struggle or fight back when attacked. Fight and attacked being the operative word. So resist is all over Twitter. And why is it all over Twitter, and why is it such a buzzword, resist? I guess because partly it justifies violence, right? Trump is oppressing us. Trump is a Nazi. Seriously, he's the same as a Nazi, so I can beat the shit out of people to stop the Nazis, when actually they just want to beat the shit out of people who voted for someone they didn't like, who are innocent. And since Trump is literally Hitler, again, conflating words like Twitter are doing now in their new policy, it means it's okay to resist and attack Republicans. So what I'm saying is, there's loads of shit on Twitter from lefties trying to incite violence. Like, you can actually find it. It's fucking everywhere. But on the right, I don't see anywhere near as much. And I'm not siding with the right. I'm not on the right side. I'm just calling out the hypocrisy of Twitter. It's just a left-wing cesspit. It really is. And this policy is just a blanket term to ban anyone who's a conservative who supports Donald Trump. Like Hillary said, all Trump voters are deplorable. Jack Dorsey, owner of Twitter, Google executives and so on, they all think the same. These liberals are so brainwashed, and it's so tiresome to see their political shit everywhere. When I go on Twitter, I don't want to have to deal with this stuff. And look, I know violence is bad. In principle, on paper, what Twitter are saying, I agree with. Who wouldn't agree with that? But we know what they're like. We know what they're like. They're very far left liberal, and this is their shtick. They get people in their cult by bullying them into supporting what they say, which is thinly veiled dogma. Support women? Sure, who wouldn't want to do that? Okay, now you have to hate men. Support minorities? Well, yeah, of course. Now you have to hate white people. Enemy number one, treat them differently. And if you don't want to do that, you will be called a racist, a sexist, a homophobe. So why would anyone follow these people? Why would anyone follow what Twitter say? Their statement that they just brought out about not wanting to incite violence is cut from the same cloth as all this other left-wing dogma. But wait, there's more. There is a second statement by Twitter. And I would like to draw your attention to that right now. The Verge, isn't this a left-wing shithole news piece? Once the new change is in effect, a new clause will be added to the Twitter rules. You may not dehumanize anyone based on membership in an identifiable group. as this speech can lead to offline harm. I think we might have... yeah. So, okay, I was right. Harm is another buzzword. Harm. They conflate the word harm with just a little bit of jesting. So they can basically shut down anyone that has a dissenting voice. It is pathetic. Dehumanize, identifiable group. I identify as a fucking pumpkin since Halloween is coming up. Jesus fucking Christ. This is just ridiculous. It's as ridiculous as it sounds. And then they go on to define dehumanization. Language that treats others as less than human. What does that even mean? It's such a blanket term. Dehumanization can occur when others are denied of human qualities, or when others are denied of human nature. Examples can include comparing groups to animals. Like Conor McGregor just compared his opponent to a rat. Is he going to be banned from Twitter? And viruses. You fucking virus. These are just words. Who cares if someone calls you a dirty dog or a fucking plague? Who cares, man? This is not harm. This is not violence. Stop trivializing and diluting these quite serious words. Or reducing groups to their genitalia. God, projecting much? What the hell are you guys talking about? Twitter go on to... Oh man, I'm sorry to put you through this, but we have to go through this because Twitter is a serious form of communication. They also define identifiable group as any group of people that can be distinguished by their shared characteristics, such as their, get ready for the weird liberal buzzwords, race, ethnicity, national origin, sexual orientation, gender identity. I'm going to stop there. I've just lost for words at how tiresome this is. It's like a script. Every time the left comes out with some weird shit, it's about race, it's about gender, you're so obsessed with it. Nobody cares, man. Nobody cares. You're making it into more of an issue than it really is. All you're trying to do is get all the minorities, all the women on your side because they're a big voting bloc. And you treat them like fucking pathetic children that are helpless and they need your help in order to survive in a world where everyone's out to get them. I'm just so tired of this Twitter shit. It doesn't even make sense, but they just keep churning out this politically correct shit, and it just stinks of the worst aspect of leftism at the moment. So that's all I have to say about that right now. It gets me so fucking mad. It's so tiresome. It's so boring. Okay. Calm down, Johnny. Calm down. What is next on the menu today? As we are moving away from the ludicrously toxic Twitter. Creed 2, a movie trailer. Thank goodness, thank heavens. I get to watch something kind of fun and give you my reaction to it. Let's watch this trailer. So, I don't know a lot about this movie. I've seen some of the Rocky movies. Rocky 4 was probably my favorite. A ridiculous movie where Rocky and a Russian beat the shit out of each other. And I think Creed was the original opponent of Rocky in the original movie that gave Rocky a really good fight. And I think they drew or Rocky lost, but it was worth it. And the moral of the story is just never give up and try and keep going and all that shite. And I think in the second Rocky, or in the fourth Rocky, one of the successive Rockies, Rocky's future opponent kills his opponent from the previous match, Creed, that he's now found a lot of respect for. And then Rocky has to go and avenge his death. So I think this movie, Creed 2, is about, I think it's the son of Creed or something. And I guess, or he's basically just a continuation of Creed in the original movies, whatever the story is. And in this version, the son of the Russian that killed Rocky's opponent, Apollo Creed, in the original movies, is now a badass as well. And so I guess what this is the son of Creed and the son of this Russian fighter from the original movies facing off against each other. So it's kind of stupid. It's kind of stupid. Let's bring up this trailer and I will give you my reaction to it. Here we go.
If we don't do what we love, then we wouldn't exist.
time, kid.
That was quite epic. I like that.
It's like nothing really matters to him right now, including me.
You gotta think real hard about this. You got people that need you now.
I'm taking the fight.
I mean, good acting, good camera work.
Ivan Drago, who infamously killed Apollo Creed, appeared today to issue a challenge to Adonis Creed.
Don't do this.
I ain't got a choice.
That's the same thing your father said, and he died right here in my hands.
Shredded.
That kid was raised in hate. It's dangerous.
Damn.
He broke things in me that ain't never been fixed. It ain't worth it.
It's not just us anymore, Dave.
I want to rewrite history.
If you want to fight this man, that's your business. But don't pretend this is about your father.
This here is all about my wife, my kids, the life that I live. Through the night, I was his. It was right what I did. My ups and
They quite often have these montages in Rocky movies where they're out in the elements training,
This won't be the end of me. Or you.
and they're using bits of nature to train, like tree trunks and tree stumps and weird inanimate objects instead of the typical objects in a gym.
Now you know what you're fighting for.
It's losing a bit of steam now.
Round after round, you learn more about yourself. And when I stepped in that ring, it wasn't all about me.
I don't know who this lead actor is, but he's good, man. He's really good on the trailer. Alright, well, I mean, look, it doesn't look like the most exciting movie of all time, but it seems to have that flavour of the other Rocky movies, and I believe Sylvester Stallone has had a hand in putting the movie together, as he did with the original, so I'm probably not going to go and see that, but for the 8th, 9th, 10th Rocky sequel, it didn't actually look that bad. Sylvester Stallone just keeps on going back to Rocky, though. I mean, where else is he going to go? He knows it's money in the bank. And yeah, that's how I feel about the Rocky, or should I say the Creed 2 trailer. In other news, you can now use keyboards with the Xbox One. So the Xbox is made by Microsoft, and of course Microsoft is famous for making their operating system, which is used on PCs all over the world, and PCs all have keyboards, of course, so it kind of makes sense that the Xbox One is finally associated with a keyboard. I'll bring up an article here talking about it. I'm sorry, it's from The Verge, but there you go. So Microsoft is enabling keyboard and mouse support on the Xbox One. Select Xbox testers will be able to trial this new support in the coming weeks, blah blah blah. Mouse and keyboard input is not enabled by default for games. So basically you can't use the keyboard with anything. The developer has to make it an option in their game. And the reason for that is as follows. This fair experience of keyboard and mouse versus controller will be key for developers to get right in the console world. PC users typically have a movement advantage over players with controllers in games like first-person shooters. So that is very true. Apparently, Microsoft is planning to share more about its Razer partnership or keyboard partnership on November the 10th, so in a couple of months. And it's very true. If you ever played a first-person shooter with a keyboard and mouse, you can basically swivel around 180 so quickly, and on a control pad you can't. Or if you do on a control pad, it's always going to be slower than a mouse, but you have to set your sensitivity so high that you're basically not going to be able to aim. So it's quite interesting they're bringing out a keyboard and mouse. That could completely change the way that Halo is played. I cannot imagine they will allow a keyboard and mouse for Halo, because it will completely change the dynamic. That game was built around a controller, so as soon as you throw a mouse and keyboard into the equation, it could change it for the worse. But hey, if it's extra precision, maybe it could take things to the next level. And finally, raccoons apparently are wreaking havoc in Japan like a zombie horde. So I stumbled across this news the other day and I found it quite amusing. So apparently raccoons are wreaking havoc with agriculture in Japan. Originally brought to Japan as pets, raccoons are being released into the wild when they become too big. Now it has become too difficult for Japanese authorities to control them. They are large and frequently aggressive. They can decimate farmers' crops and suburban gardens. They are being blamed for damage to infrastructure and the wooden homes that are still common across rural Japan. Raccoons may look cute and cuddly, but they are rapidly becoming a menace across the country. So yeah, raccoons out of control in Japan. It's kind of interesting because I guess the raccoon in Japan is the equivalent of the fox in England. There are foxes fucking everywhere in England, but not in Japan. So when I tell my Japanese friends, all 4 of them, that in England foxes are vermin, they are like, what, really? But they're so cute. Nah, mate. When I go home and go to my mum's house, you see foxes running around everywhere and they're not even scared of people. They'll come right up to you. So they're kind of gross. But I have seen YouTube videos where foxes have been kept as pets and they're quite cute, but they are noisy, feral fuckers. So I wouldn't want that shit in my house, that's for sure, let alone outside my house. But in Japan, raccoons are stirring up shit. And then when I saw this news article, I went on this ridiculous attention deficit disorder sidetrack because I started looking up the Mario raccoon suit. And I learned that a lot of the raccoons that I think I've seen in Japan are not really raccoons at all. They're raccoon dogs. So there are 2 types of these beasts in Japan. You've got the regular raccoon and the raccoon dog. And so I was gonna start talking about the raccoon dog, but there is so much fucking information on this alter ego of the raccoon dog. It is ridiculous. You could go to university and study about this weird fucking animal that I stumbled across just by looking at an article about raccoons. So I wanted to put it in the Johnny Massacre show, but there's just way too much information because this raccoon dog, I think it comes from ancient China, and we all know China is fucking ancient. It's like thousands of years old. So there's this ludicrously rich history of the raccoon dog, and there's so much hearsay that scholars have kind of poured over its significance and meaning. And it's a religious symbol, it's a cultural symbol, it's a financial symbol, it's all kinds of shit. I just want to show you how much info there is on the raccoon dog in Japan. And what makes this even more frustrating and weird is that raccoon dogs aren't raccoons and they're not dogs. So what the fuck are these things, man? Tanukis. They're called tanukis in Japan. Not to be confused with the raccoons in the article that triggered this ADD sidetrack. So first of all, let's just take a look at the fucking raccoon dog. Let's have a look at a video of this thing. Here we go. I think there's a voiceover, probably a really annoying voiceover, but let's just give it a chance before I mute it.
Take a look at this ridiculously cute creature. Is it a dog? Is it a raccoon? The internet can't get enough of Tanu the raccoon dog. Tanukis, or Japanese raccoon dogs, are mostly found in East Asia and are members of the canid family, which includes dogs and wolves. Twitter user Shibitori has been posting the cutest pictures of the animal he nicknamed Tanu. He said he found Tanu after he was abandoned and has been...
My God, why would you put that thing in your house? So she's saying it's a dog or like a wolf, but no, I've read that this thing is not a dog, it's a canine. And I didn't even know there's a difference between them, but apparently it's not a dog, it's a canine. That's what I read online. Don't know if it's true or not. Comments in the box below. But let's go on to some information online about this thing, the tanuki. So this is what I stumbled across when I was just going to casually cast a glance over it and describe to you about the tanuki. But then look how much fucking info. There's like charts and graphs and like cave paintings of this fucking thing. There's masks, there's cooking pots, there's carvings in ivory and wood, there's fucking dinner plates, there's all kinds of nonsense just fucking everywhere. GIFs, animated GIFs. So I can't really tell you about this thing. You're going to have to go online and research it yourself. But look, it's got massive testicles. This is the other... Look, it's... it's so weird. It's so weird that so much information about this fucking big testicled raccoon dog wearing a hat with a flask of Japanese liquor. So he's got massive testicles because apparently a big scrotum is associated with wealth, growing wealth. So it's kind of a good luck charm. And you always see these statues outside drinking establishments. And apparently this creature is a shapeshifter for God knows what reason. He's like magical. He's a god. He can do everything. The fucking raccoon dog, the tanuki of Japan. And yeah, he was in Super Mario as well. Do you remember the tanuki in Mario with the kind of the suit that Mario puts on, and then he can fly when he rotates his tail? Because I fucking do. Look, I'll show you right now. Mario here. He's already got a tanuki tail, it looks like. And then he's putting on a tanuki suit. So I don't know what version of Mario this is. But this goddamn tanuki thing has been in so many different incarnations of Mario. There he is. So yeah, today is a bit of a fucking tanuki discussion. The raccoon dog of Japan. But going back to the regular raccoons, you got to watch out for those in Japan, mate. There is a fucking plague of them, and they are coming to a doorstep near you soon. So that's about it for my weird news roundup today, which ranged from political to entertainment to fucking raccoon dogs. So it is high time we get off the topic of useless fake news and we get onto the topic of my very interesting, amazing life. So I'm a little bit tired. It's 2:30 in the morning. It feels like 9 o'clock at night. My internal clock is still mash up, as they say, in the rave. So I've recorded this show already once today, but my political rant was just too... I just look like an idiot when I talk about politics because I don't really know enough. So I think it's fine talking about politics. If something's pissing you off, if it's affecting your life, and it's worth talking about. But you got to be honest about things. You got to be real about things. And I just see so much political bullshit, and you've got to call out the bullshit. So yeah, anyways, that's why I'm knackered, because I went on a political rant and had to re-record the episode. So now I'm a bit slurring my speech and stuff. But what is going on in my life? I'm going to apply for a permanent visa in Japan. Once you've stayed here for 10 years, you can do that. I've kind of been here for 8.5. In the middle of my stay in Japan, I left for 1.5 years. That was a mistake. And so it could count against me, but I do have a bit of evidence as to why that was necessary. So hopefully immigration won't care too much and they'll give me my permanent visa. If they do, lock up your women, because I will be rampaging through the streets of Tokyo with a raging Arnold. Let's just keep our fingers crossed, shall we? What else is going on in my life? Had a little business meeting today, trying to prize some money from an investor, like trying to prize a pearl from a clam that's clamped shut. And I'm going to meet him again tomorrow. Another fingers crossed moment. He's going to free up like $1 million fucking, no, not $1 million, but a fair amount of money, so I can do a little business flex. So onto the mailbox. Yesterday, Wait Gamer asked me about my expensive $10,000 microphone, and I promised that I would use it. And I did a video of it. I'm kind of talking random shit. I'm just going to play a little bit of this video. Don't pay any attention to what I'm saying. Actually, as a blanket rule, whenever you watch this show, don't pay any attention to what I'm saying ever. Just kind of listen to the sweet sound of my British voice and enjoy your coffee or float off to sleep, whatever you want. It's an aesthetic experience. It's not about the content. It's purely about the sultry tones of my voice. So I'm going to play you this video I took of me speaking into my $10,000 microphone, just so you can hear what it's like, because I don't think many people have heard a $10,000 microphone. And yeah, I'm going to cut it short. So just listen to the sound and the texture. Don't really pay much attention to what I'm saying. Here we go. So this is the Browner VMA. I'm holding the mic stand because this mic is so heavyweight that if I let go, it just drops down. So this mic was never intended for use with this mic arm that is just for podcasting and radio shows. So if I do want to use this, then I'm going to have to purchase a new mic arm that is much stronger. Anyways, I wanted to give you a little demonstration. This is currently in VM1 mode, which is the modern mode. So now I'm going to switch it to VMA. So I think that's quite enough of that. I did do a little recording for you just to show it off. It's kind of overkill for a radio show, I think. It's obviously not meant for that because it's so heavy that my mic arm was just dipping. So I need to get another mic arm if I'm going to use that. So I might just get one tomorrow, but it just shows you it's not meant for like pissing around with for a radio show. It's meant for a fucking recording booth and professional recordings, and that's it. And the difference to you is probably quite subtle, but for me it's smoother. This microphone, which costs about $2,000, maybe a little bit more from some stores, has more of a sibilance, has more of a sizzle, crackle, a bit of a top end, and a bit of a fizz. That can be bad sometimes with the S words, the sibilance, but if you pair this microphone with a good mic preamp, that's not much of a concern. So yeah, I would say that expensive mic has is much more smooth and has a much richer tone. And the other thing is I'm using the same settings on my limiter preamp with both microphones. I didn't adjust the settings for the sexier, more expensive mic. So I think if I adjust the settings, you're going to get a much better impression. But for now, that's all you're going to get. I actually have the fucker right here because Wait Gamer, he's asked me a follow-up question for this show. He asks, I wonder, does that microphone require an external pop filter or does it have an internal one? I've never heard of an internal pop filter. I think you mean one that's built onto it. Of course, you can use this pop filter with it, but it does have a special pop filter. Here it is. Have you ever seen something like that? A 360-degree pop filter. So if you look inside, it's actually made of metal, and it has this nice cloth on the outside. But this is kind of concerning because I spit into this, and the artists I work with spit into it, literally spit into it. You can't help it, especially if you're rapping, trapping. So eventually that's going to stink, and I'm not going to be able to replace that fucking cloth. How the fuck would I do that? So I'm not sure about this. Still smells brand new. It doesn't smell of spit yet, but believe me, it will do. So that's a concern about this pop shield. And it still lets through a bit of boominess on the plosive sounds, the P's and B's. So I think I might take this fucking thing off and just use this. But it costs like $500 for the fucking pop shield. Seriously, man. Like, I can't be bothered to explain why, but I emailed the manufacturer to ask them how much it cost. And yeah, they confirmed. I can't find the email now, but it costs like $500 for that pop shield. So that's just insane. I mean, it's the perfect marriage for the microphone on paper. The guy who made the mic has also made the pop shield, so it should be quite awesome. I guess the main use for this is when you put the microphone into 360-degree mode, so it's picking up sound from all angles. You could actually have a round table. You could set the mic here and everyone could talk into it, but you might get some phase problems if you try to do that. Just look it up online. So anyways, yes, the microphone does have a special pop filter, and I want to take it off, but you have to screw it in, and you can kind of scratch it when you take it on, when you put it, and when you take it off or put it back. So I'm not gonna take it off. So right, love or hate? Am I joining the light side or am I joining the dark side on this episode of the Johnny Massacre Show? I'm afraid it is hate, so I'm going to talk about something I hate. I'm joining the dark side. I broke my fucking oven dish. So I inherited this oven dish, square dish. It's quite deep. It's about that deep, maybe about 4 inches deep. It has this really great glass cover, and I got it from this old Japanese guy who died, and his daughter gave it to me. And when I started cooking curries and shit, I make it all in the oven, and this thing is perfect, man. You put this glass cover on, it's like some old man fucking oven dish. So old people love cooking because they got nothing better to do. So he had some quite good wares in his kitchen. I mean, it's not fucking worth $1,000 or something, but it's decent. It's half decent, and I fucking love it. And I've dropped it before into the sink, and it shattered the fucking plate underneath it. So it's built like a tank. When I dropped it in the sink, I was well worried I broke it, but I didn't. So I thought, I'm going to keep this thing forever. I've already got away with one. Now I'm going to be careful. What did I fucking do? I cooked up a curry. It was beastly hot. I took the fucking dish out, and then for the last 15 minutes, I removed the top. I removed the lid, this glass lid, and then I just moved the curry closer to the grill and just grill whatever's left of it. So I immediately put the glass oven dish cover in the sink and fucking put the cold water on. Blam! It fucking exploded. It like shattered into a million fragments. The curry was still safe, but that really pissed me off. So I don't know what the fuck I'm going to do, how I'm going to replace this thing. It's nearly irreplaceable, man. So I'm hating my broken curry dish. You know when you see that Chinaware and stuff that's been broken and it's like been glued back together? There is no fucking way in hell you could glue this thing back together. It is in my sink right now. I cannot be asked to clean it up. It's in such a state. So that's about it for today. It was a little sluggish because I'm knackered and I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. But if you stay with me this far, we're onto something. I'm positive, man. We're building up to something. I've got the passion. I've got the dreams. I'm going to make it. And I'm going to bring you with me. So I'm going to keep on making the music. New music video coming tomorrow. I need you to come along on my journey. I will reward you. Make sure to go to my patreon.com/Johnny Massacre and donate what you can. So we're going to make it together. Make sure to follow me on twitter.com/Johnny Massacre, facebook.com/Johnny Massacre, and all the rest. Instagram.com/Massacre Johnny. I went by the name of Johnny Massacre, and you've been witnessing The Johnny Massacre Show.